Since its founding in 1957, Stony Brook University has built a reputation that reaches around the world.
And we're growing and evolving every day. Our faculty is world-renowned and teaches more than 24,000 students each year.
And among our faculty, you'll find Nobel laureates, Guggenheim Fellows, MacArthur Grant winners, and Grammy Award winners.
Our 1,450 acres includes a major research university, Stony Brook University Medical Center, and a research and development park. The university, which is located 60 miles east of New York City, also plays a vital role in Long Island's regional economy.
One of the most exciting projects on campus is the design and construction of the Nobel Halls, on track to become Stony Brook's first LEED certified residence halls. That means it's not only a great place to live, but it's green. Every aspect of its impact on the environment has been carefully taken into account. Now, LEED stands for Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. LEED sets the standard in green building.
And while LEED criteria falls into 6 distinct categories, the main objective can be boiled down to a few goals.
That's right, make the building as water and energy efficient as possible with minimal environmental impact.
Use as much recycled material as you can and try to create as little waste as possible.
LEED also focuses on a healthy environment. Clean air, good light, and thoughtful design help those inhabiting the space to be more productive, and it can even help improve overall health.
And who wouldn't want that?
President Stanley, is it true that Stony Brook University has long been a proponent of environmental stewardship?
I think it's actually really built into our DNA. If you look back in 1967, it was a Stony Brook professor, Charles Werther, who actually founded the Environmental Defense Fund. So that was really the beginning, I think, of a long history of Stony Brook of being engaged in environmentalism. I think it's become something that's been endorsed both by our faculty as well as by our students and even the surrounding community. I think we like to serve as an example for what can be done in this area, and I think we have an opportunity and an obligation to do that.
Professor Skonin, is there an aspect of green living that you have a particular passion for?
Well, I think what's really emerging as a real area of study is how people behave in buildings and how buildings change behavior. And I think that's something that our program is very interested in, getting students to understand how living in a green building changes behavior and how that is then translated into a better building.
The fact is, when a green building is completed, it looks pretty much like any other building. But every aspect of design and construction comes into play when a building is being constructed by LEED standards.
We have been preaching a sustainable universe and sustainable design for years.
You build green because it's part of a national imperative.
The importance of building green buildings for college and university campuses is that these are our future leaders.
These are the students who are going to be providing leadership in terms of sustainability and environmental responsibility after they leave here.
We are familiar with a lot of the sustainability initiatives that are already ongoing at the campus.
We have a whole university who's dedicated to the sustainable design process for everything they do.
We knew that they would be, strongly committed to taking a sustainable path with this new building as well.
And it says something about the vision that the president and the university has about the current position of the campus in the area of technology and sustainable design.
Okay, commitment, definitely. Expectations, we have them, that's true. And great design, of course. But what else goes into a building when it's being made green?
Our idea about this building is that it should not be a building that harkens back to the past. This is a building for the future.
We took into consideration everything from the very beginning in terms of sustainable perspective on this project. There was a building in this location that got torn down, and all of the material from that structure was recycled.
The bricks, the block that was impaled, the piping, the boiler systems, the cement.
It was taken to a center that specializes in sorting construction waste, and they separated out the valuable items such as the metals and the various products that can be reused. Transportation is actually a huge factor in the greenhouse gases that are being emitted into our atmosphere. A lot of times, you don't really think about where the product you're installing came from. The easiest way to find locally sourced materials are dealing with things like concrete. The majority of concrete that is made locally, it's sourced locally, it's extracted locally.
In this case, and everything we do really, we don't design from the outside in. We're really designing, in the first instance, from the inside out. We really are analyzing, in other words, what do students really need to be happy living and sleeping and working here and living in community with others. One of the ways the building has taken its form is that we were determined to put living spaces, the living rooms, on corners. Every time you see a corner, you see a living room, because that corner allows us to put windows on two sides of the building and two sides of the room. Kids will just love to stay in spaces that have good views and lots of light, lots of natural light.
And what's important about this is we spend 90% of our time indoors, so that you want to make sure that you are in a healthy environment.
We tried to make the windows within the building as large as possible in order to bring in as much natural daylight and therefore reduce the need for the artificial light in the building.
The lights in the stairways are controlled by motion sensors and come on when you use the stairs.
The student rooms have sensors so that the students can adjust the amount of heat and cooling.
You can turn it on or off, so if you don't feel like you need your air conditioning, it's not permanently on. And you can also adjust the temperature.
The bathroom flushes at different levels, which is interesting, but it's nice to know you're living in an environment where it's actually beneficial to the community and you're helping out.
The majority of spaces are carpet, and it's a carpet that has a backing that has a high recycled content to it. And then in some of the public spaces is actually a linoleum, which is a rapidly renewable material.
What we breathe is what affects our health most.
So we use all low VOC or no VOC paints, adhesives, and sealants.
It is a proven fact that higher oxygen levels help the brain to operate more efficiently, more effectively, and for students to be more focused.
All of the buildings in the Nobel residence halls have bike racks.
If this one fills up, there's bike racks on every side of the building, and there's one inside, so if it snows or rain, I could just put my bike in there.
As we've learned, building green often includes green space. The new LEED Nobel halls are beautifully landscaped with hardy native plants. These plants are drought tolerant and selected to thrive in the location of the Nobel halls.
It's an exciting building. It's colorful. It draws attention to it. It's the first thing you want to look at. When you see it from a distance, you're immediately drawn to it.
Color can add such vibrancy and such change to the way people perceive space. So we were determined to really make this building a special place that the students would refer to.
So it's that idea of making that the most attractive space so the students want to spend their time together with their suite mates to really build those relationships.
After all, if the students really think of this as their home away from home, they will think of their experience at Stony Brook University in a very different way than if they do not feel at home.
And the features and attributes that make the Nobel residence halls efficient and green go beyond what's in the building.
In fact, they reach across campus to Stony Brook's own cogeneration plant, which supplies energy to the new LEED Nobel residence halls as well as the campus at large. Now, Peter, what can you tell us about this facility?
This is a cogeneration facility, which means that it produces both electricity and heat energy for use to make steam, which we use in various heating and cooling processes throughout the campus.
Now, how does it do that?
Basically, the electricity is produced by using natural gas in a jet engine, and the exhaust heat from the jet engine is used to stimulate boilers, which actually generate the steam. We take the steam over into our plants, and we use it to spin turbines to make chilled water for cooling, and we use it in what's called cascade heaters to make high-temperature hot water for heating purposes.
Does this facility provide all of the energy for the campus?
Actually, this facility produces more than enough electricity for the campus. The extra is sent out into the grid and services the community at large.
Jimmy, what do we have behind us here?
This is the water retention pond, and it captures the natural rainwater to help prevent erosion, and actually has developed its own ecosystem just by being here.
Why build green? Because I need to keep the utility bill down.
I'm very happy that the university is developing the new residence halls with LEED certification. It sends a huge message to the students who are going to live in these residences that we're doing everything we can in recycling, in energy efficiency, in solar energy, and water conservation. These are so important to get the message across. So when these students graduate from Stony Brook, they will take these lessons with them.
It's a commitment, it's a set of action, and it's a set of collaborations that bring together this sort of an environment, but this sort of a curriculum, this sort of an institutional ethos.
And we think a building like this represents confidence in the future.
You know, here at Stony Brook, we believe that everyone should be an environmental steward. And new innovation, new processes, and new buildings like our LEED-compliant Nobel residence halls are an integral way in which Stony Brook turns passion into action.
Well, here's to a green future together.
Thanks for watching.